We're lost, Nathan. What do we do? You're the navigator.
I've got to calculate the height. Quick, sharp. How high is that star? Get on it.
How do we calculate the height, Nathan?
I don't know, but it's going to save our lives if we figure it out quick, sharp, when we're lost here.
Or you know actually how high it really is.
Hold on a second. Maybe someone on board already knows the height.
And welcome to BALLBUSTERS episode 102. I'm going to shoot from the hip today. You just don't know where we're going to go. I love it when that happens. Is my partner in crime, the distinguished Nathan Oakley, out there somewhere, sir?
How's it doing? Welcome to BALLBUSTERS, all of you in the live stream on Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. It's good to be here. Very excited, as you can probably tell. Obviously a lot more excited than Quantum Eraser as he's gone and left hosting the show, it seems.
I did that. I did it purposely. I'm sorry. I just wanted to see or hear the silence.
We've also got Arwin and Brian's Logic. So Arwin, how are you doing?
Is my sound? Yeah, it's working now. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing, Brian? Good to have you.
Hey everyone, hey Kiwi, hey Nathan. Good. Thanks for having me in. Looking forward to it.
And our everyman Neil's here too. How you doing, Neil? Can you hear us?
How are you?
Very well. It's beer. Get out. I'm doing your job for you, Kiwi.
You're doing my job. No, wait. You're like the, how would we say, the MC.
Maybe. I suppose if you've got to focus on doing presentations, it's nice to know that you've got somebody in the wings ready to keep the flow going should it be necessary. Yeah, I suppose I am. Master of ceremonies. Why not?
Yes, sir.
As the master of ceremonies, I'm going to plug my own video because I put a hell of a lot of work into it last week and it's been sat on the members only stream for a quite significant period of time because I put so much work into it. Anyway, it's got Dave Triangles McKeegan doubles down proving a flat earth. It's got him as a lighthouse with an angle of elevation with flat and him saying perfectly straight baseline on the thumbnail. So check it out. It's on the Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel and I want to plug it because I want people to watch it. It's a good video.
That's okay. You ain't going to have to plug it because that's going to be part of our evaluation today, like I was going to get to. You see, I was going to wake up this morning and then go chase down some clips off the main video. And to my surprise, pleasant surprise, it was in my notifications. So I pulled it up. I said, damn, I really don't have to do anything this morning. Nathan did it for me. You didn't grab every little thing, but I understand that's a lot of work. But we're going to go over a little piece of that today, ironically.
Wasn't every little thing, but considering it's a 24-minute or just under video represents essentially 2 hours of broadcast material. And to condense it down, you're right, there isn't every little... There's a lot more meat on that bone, surprisingly. You'd
Yes.
think having shaved off so much, there'd be very little left. No, there's loads of meat left on it. But main points which were reordered, if you actually listen back to it and compare it to the live show, it's significantly out of order. The end point that we made goes first, followed by the midpoint, followed by the first point. It makes no sense chronologically if you listen back live.
Yep.
It does make sense in terms of the point I want to make and how I want to illustrate it to an audience. So I put, like I say, it's more than just the editing. I put a lot of mental effort into how I wanted that video to present because I felt it was so important in terms of how Dave is coming back at One Deck in respect to One Deck's cleverly phrased celestial navigation-based question about them with their claim of height woven in with a reply that has GPs included. So you've got every element that you require for somebody to be in a position where, as Dave did, he's showing why it doesn't work on a globe. That's celestial navigation and triangulation and trig, because of the flat baseline required for the triangle with 90 degrees. He's saying that's the reason it doesn't work on a globe. Okay, so this is the most beautiful crescendo to him, basically coming back at me because I've said, yeah, he proves a flat earth with these triangles. Look at this comment. It's escalated into him going out of his way. That's why the video is called Doubles Down on Proving a Flat Earth. He's going out of his way to make it absolutely clear to his audience, this does not work on a curved surface because you need flat baseline. I shouldn't chuckle, but it's hard not to. with that, you got to still move past the laughter and go, no, this is important. Labour this without laughing too much. Hopefully I've kept a better humour in there, but there we go. Over to you.
Yeah, you missed the part that I want to highlight right now, and you're going to be able to hear it because I'm sharing my screen in Discord. Here we go. We're lost, Nathan. What do we do? You're the navigator.
I've got to calculate the height. Quick, sharp. How high is that star? Get on it.
How do we calculate the height, Nathan?
I don't know, but it's going to save our lives if we figure it out quick, sharp, when we're lost here.
Or you know actually how high it really is.
Hold on a second. Maybe someone on board already knows the height.
There you go, Nathan. Shout out to you. That was absolutely perfect.
It's one of them. It's like ground control to Wolfie Clown Show. We have a man observing you from a non-inertial turning reference frame. Please make micro adjustments immediately. Similar vein, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're lost. What we're going to do? Oh no, find the navigator. Navigator. Yeah, what's up? We are completely lost. oh my God, we better find out the height of these stars immediately. Our lives are at stake.
It was off the cuff. It was absolutely perfect. I couldn't get it out of my head all day, man. I was saying to myself, Nathan, we're lost. What do we do? And you weren't even around.
I got kind of frustrated because he never really explained how the height of the celestials were actually important.
He doesn't
He
know.
just said, like, no, it's really important. And this
He did this
like,
last
what?
time, Owen. He did. He was
Where?
going out of his way, and I kid you not. The importance that was being stressed has somehow gone past you, perhaps because you've watched too many flat Earth positive videos. Even though he's a obviously anti-flat earther, his point that he was stressing was how it doesn't work on a globe, Arwin. That was what.
Yeah,
he
I
was
remember that
stressed.
part. I remember, but
That
not
was
like.
his point.
Yeah, well, that part certainly came across, but not like how the height actually was involved in any way. Except for that, apparently, that made the globe really impossible. Well, cool. It's just.
Meanwhile, we
Why
don't
would
have a
you do
height
that?
claim. Why would he do that? Indeed, that's why one of the other videos I trimmed out and edited was called "Why Would Glurf Dave Twangles McKeegan Prove a Flat Earth?" It beggars belief. Absolutely, Owen. I don't know why he would do such a stupid thing, and it is hysterical. That's what he's done. It's so beautiful that he's done it in an attack against me. It's just comical. Not only that, he's done it with a totally unjustified, unrelated, non sequitur ad hom, aka a personal attack, right at the beginning. To justify us calling him Twangles. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. Nobody has given me any shit over that. Excuse my language. Because why would you? And it's, oh right, Nathan can't convert meters into kilometers. He's that white Twangles. Could he not?
Especially when he broke down 90. I was like, is this guy on outside?
That to me is just priceless because it shows how disjointed he is from the other people who have been long served in the anti-flat earth community. He's just come along and gone, whoa, you get a lot of views if you attack flat earthers. Let's do that more. He has. He's not got to know the anti-flat earth community. When they're all going, shh, don't talk about 90. No, that's not a good argument. Might just, keep that under our belt. Along comes Dave. Hey, check out this 90. Got to have a flat baseline for that. That's why it don't work on a globe. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, he doesn't know very much about celestial navigation, and it looked like he just tripped himself up by, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, discovering trigonometry and triangles. He was all over the place. Right, he was doing triangulation, and then in the midst of his triangulation, he pulled up a bottle that he wanted to get the height of with an elevation angle. The two don't have anything to do with each other. It was just a mishmash of nonsensical Dunning-Kruger gibberish.
He seemed overall very confused.
That's down to the skill of one deck. You go back and read the comments between One Deck and Dave Twangles McKeegan. The way that One Deck has phrased the question is within the context of celestial navigation, the measurements therein, how do you get the height of your stars on your globe? That's how it's been phrased. So the argument's gone back and forth, and Dave has taken it upon himself, upon doing, like you say, he's done in Kruger research, gone, oh, this don't work on a globe. What's the explanation? Because we go to the centre of Earth with an angle that we've taken off a flat plane and then work that angle out to the surface on a tangent plane that isn't a tangent plane, then out to the celestial sphere above through from the equatorial plane, therefore doesn't work on a globe. So he's gone through the same process we have, but as a ball-believing muppet. And Dunning-Kruger hasn't made him realise that's why it doesn't work. He's just gone into, well, I see why it doesn't work, but the explanation is I take that angle from a flat Earth to a centre of a presupposed spherical Earth, like we disseminate daily. And he's just parroted it off. Like, yeah, but what you're parroting, Dave, is number one, our argument. Number two, phrased in a way from a baller perspective where literally every ball-believing glurf troll is now screaming their heads off because there is sod all that they can do about this. It is akin to a thanks Bob moment. Because what is it? Well, it's the GLERF proving a flat Earth. Not only proving a flat Earth, showing unequivocally how it can't work on a globe. The hijacking of the flat plane you're measuring to the centre of another flat plane at the centre of it. You're like, you've shown every aspect as a baller. Couldn't have done a better job. Just one of those times. This will never happen again. I'm going to put money on it. This sort of gaffe will never happen again. It is more of a gaffe than Bob being accidentally caught on a hot mic saying, "Oh, this is a bit awkward. We got Earth turning underneath," and not going, "But that would shorten flight times." He doesn't do that because he didn't know the argument. No, he would have if he was more up to date with the flat Earth debate. Rest in peace. Nevertheless, that wasn't as big a gaffe as a glurf telling the world this is how flat Earth only capable of being measured angles get measured and don't work on a globe. And further to that, here's how they get shoved into the molten iron core with triangles coming out that don't work. We can ignore the globe, make it redundant, and then still work off a flat plane. With another triangle going out to infinity where I can't get the height. But make it be known that I'm more than anything making it surely known to everybody watching how this doesn't work on a globe. That's really all I'm doing. That's what he's done. I can't think of a more Dunning-Kruger, idiotic, from a globe perspective, position to have taken. But he has. I mean, kudos. I'm lost for words.
Well, Nathan, this is only the beginning. I mean, I'll bet you it'll get worse than this. But it's just going to be more funny to us.
I feel bad. He might get excommunicated.
No. There is a potential for Arwin to be correct. But, sorry, Brian. One more point, which is to say, that's the danger of promoting anti-flat Earth through financial means. Numpties like Dave will stutter and stammer their way along to a profitable endeavour. Go, oh, look, like I said earlier, oh, look, these make a lot of money. I'll make more. Okay. But just doing that might algorithmically immediately benefit you. But in the long run, it's to the detriment of every glurf troll who are screaming at the top of their lungs every time they go, but show me your flat Earth map. What's that you say? Dave, tell them how it don't work on a globe. You know, it's devastating, right? But the more financial incentive there is for idiot numpties with Dunning-Kruger to come along and start talking about how Earth isn't flat, and they do cursory research for 2 or 3 days, perhaps even hours, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was just a few hours of research on this. And then they'll disseminate to their audience, like Dave did, how Earth must be flat and how it can't be globe-shaped. Because they're just doing it for the views, and the algorithms recognise that they're pro-globe, anti-flat Earth. Props them up when they do something like this. Okay, well, that's how it'll continue, because most people are just like Dave. He's your average dumb baller. He's kind of fallen down the hill, but didn't recognise the smacks on the head while he went down it. There we go.
Shout out to Tony Wickham. Flurf's having fun while the Quayon munchers have to paint a smile with the Quayons they munching on. Thanks, Tony.
Say Quayon munchers.
Go ahead,
Nathan, are you
Brian.
getting a lot of? Are you getting a lot of comments off of Global trolls about this?
Me?
No.
No,
What
just
can they say? The ones that have were immediately met with a direct quote, verbatim from Dave, about how it can't work on a globe. Well, they've got less and less and less, and there's more and more flat earthers. There's tons of comments. So I had a little snooze earlier because I was exhausted retuning this computer just to make sure it's not going to crash throughout next week. The only reason it did this week because I was at an 80th birthday last week, just so you know. Otherwise, I would have sat and slaved over a tuning process last weekend. I just didn't. I have this weekend, so all this week it should all be fine. Anyway, I've forgotten what I was babbling about now.
Dave.
well, I actually was there a lot of Global trolls.
Oh yes, there's been almost 90 comments on that video I plugged at the start of this show. Literally almost all of them, with a couple of exceptions that haven't left primary comments, their responses to flat earthers going, "Wow, Dave is a complete clown, isn't he?" Or, "Oh wow, Triangles McKeegan does it again." Things like that. And then there's perhaps in one or two of them a baller responding going, "Where's your flat earth map?" And then a whole list of comments underneath going, who cares? You can't do this on a globe. Who cares? Triangulation requires a flat Earth. Tell a lie. I think there was maybe one primary comment where somebody who's obviously tertiary to this subject come along and gone, so you're suggesting that we can't use sextants and they don't work? In other words, their mentality, that primary commenter, was such that if we show that it must use a flat Earth, which Dave has done, sorry, I don't want to take credit for Dave's good work, because Dave's shown how it must use a flat Earth, their logic is that, well, sextants don't work then, because it's globe-shaped. No, sextants do work with the flat Earth Dave proved it required. And they are used daily, because Earth's flat. People aren't getting this, and that, like I say, is somebody I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt has just come from the outside and gone, surely if this, as Dave has done so admirably, proves you must have a flat Earth, and we're on a globe, then sextants don't work. That's their logic. I know sextants work. Earth must be flat for that to happen, as Dave explained. Yeah, mostly flat earthers, Brian. It's why would the Glurfs come anywhere near this? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that like those people coming in saying, well, you say, are you claiming the sextants don't work? It's like, that is them trying to hijack something from reality and state that it only happens and can only happen because of their model. It's like, no, you don't understand. That's a hijacking of reality. You know, that's what they're trying to do. Like, Dave tried to do it in his video. Like, I have to just remind you, you've only watched the first 15 minutes. That's a 30-minute video, if I remember correctly. You've only watched the first 15 minutes, so you don't even know what's in the other 15 minutes. We haven't even looked at that yet. That could be even more devastating. But, you know,
more devastating than telling an audience how it doesn't work on a globe and how it must have a flat Earth. I can't think of anything more devastating than that, to be perfectly honest.
So wait, Derek. Sorry, Barry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I thought it, when his name came up earlier, I looked at the video you put out there earlier, Nathan, and his name came up, and when his name came up, what came to straight away in my head it was Dave. It's definitely flat, McKeegan. I'm not even calling them triangles anymore.
Dave, it's definitely flat, McKeegan. You can't be changing his name.
Why not? I also call him 180 degrees McKeegan. That's a double whammy. Because 180 degrees is the amount of degrees inside a triangle, but it's also a horizontal baseline because it's a straight line.
Why don't we just call him Dave? It doesn't work on a globe, McKeegan.
They all mean the same thing. There was one other sentiment to a commenter, although it wasn't a primary comment, which was, what does it matter? It's just some YouTuber. So what if Dave says this? They didn't explicitly say, so what if Dave proves it's flat and doesn't work on a globe? But their sentiment was, it's just some YouTuber, you know, downplaying his significance in the arena because of its massive gaff-like nature. Well, it's just Dave, who cares? All right, okay. Like us going, when people say thanks, Bob, well, it's only Bob, who cares? That's similar sentiment.
Yeah.
That's another response type, Brian, just so you know what's going on in the comments.
Shout out to Flatten the Curve. Wow. Hold on. Shout out to Flatten the Curve. Shaboom, shaboom. Was that a song?
Shaboom, shaboom. Yes.
Thanks, Flatten Curve. Appreciate it. Go on.
I was just going to ask. The commenter said, show us your map, or where's your map? Sort of like show us the dome when they can't overcome entropy. I got it.
So, since we talked about this so much, I thought I'd run it a little bit. Nathan, if you want me to stop it, just say, yo. All right? And it's being shared in Discord. Can you all see that?
No, it didn't work last time you did it, but I'll watch on the live stream.
Yeah, it did work the last time. You just got a black screen because I haven't hit play yet.
Okay.
Here we go. Tell me if you don't hear it or don't see it, Nathan.
He's going to really, 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 really prove it's flat this time.
And the table being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
I cannot quite believe my ears. Dave's just put it flat. You know, made it really clear that 90 meets a flat surface.
You hear that, Nathan?
Yeah, perfectly.
Do you see that, Nathan?
Yeah.
All right. There you go. I stopped it right there because I figured this is important part. No? No? Just silence? I stopped it. Hello?
Where's the
Hoping other-
MC?
What the hell?
Maybe you'll pipe up. I've commented on this more than I can mention.
Okay, I'll pipe up. He's talking about celestial navigation. All we have all of a sudden here is 2 elevation angles. This is actually trigonometric triangulation, by the way. All of a sudden we have 2 elevation angles here and 2 90-degree angles. Not speaking to that in order to get 2 right angles and 2 90-degree angles, that baseline has to be flat. Not even speaking to that, because you've already heard. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that. Can I ask a question? When we get lost, do we have to have somebody else in the vicinity to do another elevation angle? Triangles? Because you got a person here. Even though you don't got anyone over here, this is an elevation angle. Somebody's taking it. And one here. So according to Dave Triangles McKeegan in Celestial Navigation, we can't get lost unless we have another person over in some other vicinity to give us another elevation angle. I hope everyone's following that.
He did the same.
What
with
he's
his
doing,
thumbnails.
yeah.
Sorry, Brian, you go ahead.
No, you go, Nathan. I say after.
I was going to say, he demonstrated that he didn't really understand what celestial navigation involves when I looked at his thumbnail. So he's just got randomly placed triangles. Like, no, vertex for all 3 or 2, depending on what you require at the point that you get lost, is a single point, so you've got like 3 lines of position moving out from your position because you've rotated yourself round about where you're standing on the boat for the sake of argument. Look at that star over to the left, that star over to the right, and the one behind you. They're all emanating from the same vertex point, 90 degree below the BP of the star. In other words, directly below each star that you're measuring out where it is over the land at that particular time. All 3 angles would emanate from your position. Because what he's got is 2 people with the 90 degrees meeting some arbitrary point. Okay, well, this might be the case that if you had 2 boats both coincidentally using the same navigation star, but it's so. Just shows a lack of understanding when it comes to the celestial navigation itself.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is that what he was doing there is he was greasing the skids for later on when he was going to try and put a chord through a circle, that circle being his globe, and then try and use 2 different angles to a celestial body to find the distance to it. He was trying to say that we need to have that distance to do elevation angles, specifically celestial navigation elevation angles. But then he was showing how, without showing how they need that distance on his globe, he was trying to show how they can get a distance on a globe. I don't know, like something, even though celestial navigation don't have anything to do with distance. Now, he knows that they don't. He knows they don't claim that. This is a straw man that he was well aware of as a straw man. So what he was doing here with the 2 different people, with different angles to the same celestial body, I think he was also besides using that later for his model, he was also pointing out how 2 people could get a height to a celestial body on a flat plane if they took the angles from a different location, completely ignoring what angles are. They're especially within celestial navigation, they are just a perspective measurement above the horizon. So consequently, like when that celestial body moves or one of the observers move, then the angles are going to change and your calculations will give you a completely different height. So he was trying all kinds of things, all kinds of stupid stuff at the same time, simultaneously.
You've just clarified this, but that's what I was going to ask. Did you say he specifically said you known distances to the GP? Like, that was in his comment as well. I thought it was a mistype, which is why I didn't labour it, but he's doubled down on that too. Okay. No. The whole point in getting the angle, so you can minus it from 90 and times it by 60 to get the distance to the GP. trying to acquire the distance, so you know how far it's going to be from your position when you draw a circle from the point below the star at a given time. If you're saying, well, it's a known distance in celestial navigation, well, number one, that negates the whole point of the process. If you're saying you know the distance, you're saying you always know the distance to a point that's above the land and moving continually. It highlights a lack of understanding of celestial navigation, because to even infer that you know the distance to the GP means you know the distance to a point that's moving continually. It's utterly absurd and just shows how stupid he is.
Yeah, you wouldn't need celestial navigation. There'd be no point to have sextant on board. It's pretty silly. So we're going to continue. Tell me to stop.
This. Right, Dave.
So why it doesn't work on a globe. In order to do trigonometry, you need a triangle, and triangles have flat sides. And obviously the globe doesn't. It becomes...
There it is. That's it. Thanks.
Wow.
Yep. He doesn't even realize it. Doesn't even realize it. Just keeps going on. That dog is smarter than he is. I can't believe it. I really can't.
Becomes even simpler if you're already dealing with a right angle straight out of the gate.
How would you be dealing with a right angle straight out the gate? What gate?
Video, 50% of...
What? What?
Again, Brian.
Oh, brother. Thanks for the interruption.
Because you'll have already proven a flat Earth at that point. I don't seem to see any assertion of height on here. Where does it show you the height? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it's because it's not relevant, Dave, you stupid straw-manning idiot.
Good. So nothing again.
From the Smithsonian Magazine.
You want to read it out? Go ahead.
A sextant is used to measure the altitude of a celestial body above a horizontal line of reference. Altitude, in this case, is a special use of the word describing an angular measure, not distance in feet above sea level. Not distance in feet above sea level. Describing an angular measure, not distance in feet above sea level.
Yeah, so Smithsonian kind of screwed up with that. It's kind of non sequitur in a sense. This says altitude in this case is a special use of the word describing an angular measure, right? An angular measure to what? A celestial body. Not a distance in feet? No, just not a distance above sea level. Smithsonian. I don't know who was writing this, but why the heck did they put feet in there? I'm being pedantic, but it's for a reason. What the hell are they putting feet in there for? Anyone know?
Maybe just to give an actual, so you'd need them for an actual height.
Yeah, but
Feet
why would you put a distance in feet if of an angular measurement to a celestial body? It's non sequitur. Why would they even say it? And unless they're thinking that some celestial bodies could be measured in feet above sea level.
That's what I was just thinking. What, do they know something we don't? Are the stars that close?
But the overall concept is correct. Altitude in this special case is use of word describing an angular measure, not a distance above sea level. Duh. You're not trying to solve the right triangle in celestial navigation. In other words. Anyone else?
Well, I think they were just putting it in there so people are clear, because there's a lot of idiots out there. You know, there's a multitude of them out there.
Yeah, that would make them more of an idiot.
Yeah, well, if you don't put that in, they are likely to start making up their own version of what you meant.
What?
So they have to put that in.
What? Put feet in? The problem I have is the feet part.
It should really be miles or something.
Yeah. Miles or light years or some shit. Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. Maybe they're working up.
Redundant, isn't it? You just need not to find out the distance. That's all you need.
Yes. Yes. Can somebody find out? Go ahead and convert 433 light years into feet for us, please. I'll be waiting. Now go.
Sorry,
me, I
I was
couldn't
going to say,
possibly.
like if you were getting the height of a lighthouse on top of a cliff, you would probably get that in either meters or feet.
Yeah, but that's not what this
So-
is talking about.
No, but I think that's the differential they're making. Is like you won't be getting a feet height to this point in the sky, like you'd get to, like a lighthouse at the top of a cliff, which would like one might be 400 feet, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You won't be getting
Makes
that
sense.
for angular
Yeah,
because
I
you won't
agree.
be doing an angular size measurement. Go on.
What Brian's saying is when you're doing it with trig and you actually are trying to find the height of, say, a lighthouse, even in that instance, if you're using it for a practical application, and 10th went through this also,
Yeah.
you're looking for danger angles. Well, danger angles have nothing to do with the height either. That aside, you can use the process to find the height of the things.
Yes, I
A flat
understand
plane.
that, but not in this context. Let me read the first sentence to you, and I'll stress the important part. A sextant is used to measure the altitude of a celestial body above a horizontal line of reference. See the context? We're in the celestial bodies. So
Not lighthouses.
yeah, not lighthouses. But you got it. I know it's pedantic, and I'm beating this up, but
Well, no. I think the reason for the overqualification, which isn't necessary, because the word altitude is in there, or elevation is in there in terms of the description. So when it's got altitude in quotes, trying to stress that if I say, well, what's the altitude of that flagpole? You go, oh, the
No.
altitude is. Well, just for absolute over clarity, and they've put in a redundant word. Nobody's disagreeing with you, by the way.
Well, if you take an airplane into account and the altitude of an airplane, that's often given in feet, like 38,000 feet or whatever.
Perfect.
So
There
that,
you go. Brian's got there.
yeah, of course
I
it's
think
out
you
of
gotta stress
context.
that point again.
Now, they talk about a mariner can use this horizon as this line of reference, but when an airplane is above the clouds or flying at night, its navigator can't see the horizon. See, it goes off on different contexts with the bubble sextant. But up here, it says the sextant is used to measure the altitude of a celestial body. That is the context. So this makes no sense, distance in feet above sea level. It's non sequitur. We can move on, though.
well, if you want to
measure,
get more
not-
pedantic, they should have said.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to try and get in before you press play. If you want to get more pedantic, they should have said the marine sextant.
Oh, brother, thanks.
Well, that is correct.
distance in feet above sea level.
Oh, this is a BALLBUSTERS ad within a live BALLBUSTERS. We're like going to go through a wormhole or something.
He's going to try and strawman us with this. You need a hoist, something that celestial navigation never ever use or claim to the celestial body. Is take the angular measurement that he on the flat earth he needs to take it, right, and then put it at the center of his globe and make the distance an arc length.
Once he's
Yeah.
acquired the angles from a flat Earth, he'll then utilize them with his sphere belief after measuring them off a flat Earth. I see.
Yeah, it's a bit more scummy though. What he's trying to do is hijack the actual reality, which is the measurements of a flat Earth.
Angle measurements, which is what we do in celestial navigation. We take angle measurements, and they're done with reference to a baseline. This requires a flat Earth. So long as we're all clear from this point forth that the only way we can acquire these angles are if this line is straight, that requires a flat Earth. I just want to say this one more time for any of Dave's audience that may be watching. This is me responding to Dave's claims as opposed to hand waving them. He is in fact a liar because we are responding and using his own words to prove angle measurements as described in his comments, because I don't need any of this, I've already got it from him, require a flat baseline. Now this guy measuring a star over here could be 5,000 miles away from this guy, but they're both measuring with respect to the same baseline, flat Earth.
You can then calculate where those angles will intersect
So long as you've got a flat Earth to get the angles from.
and create a triangle.
So long as Earth is flat and the baseline is flat.
You can subsequently
Yep.
calculate the height
This isn't celestial navigation, by the way, just for the audience members. You want me to continue? I'll take that as a yes.
Above the baseline where those lines intersect.
You want to show us where that's done in celestial navigation? Because that's what was being detailed in Wandek's comment to you. So, given that celestial navigation with triangles is on your thumbnail, I'm going to assert that this is a straw man. Again, because this isn't in reference to celestial navigation. Your thumbnail shows triangles on a pizza pie earth straw man. Yet another straw man I don't claim. This video is about me, I don't claim this. Meanwhile, you've got triangles on this surface. They don't seem to be all referencing a point for triangulation, which kind of tells me that you don't understand how this process works, or you depicted it in a better way. You don't, that much is clear, you don't even know what latitude is. However, you are still asking us about height, which isn't necessary in celestial navigation, which is what this discussion's about. Strawman.
Which forms two right-angled triangles.
Yeah, you need a flat earth for those right-angled triangles. Okay, so at this point, Dave is continually and perpetually proving a flat earth. Because to do this, acquire this, which is step one, this is the representation of the ground, and it's flat. So we need 90 degrees, Dave. You're doing a wonderful job. And we need a flat baseline to measure these angles. So long as there's angle measurements involved, it's going to be referenced to the flat earth. Okay, moving forward, I just want the audience to cement that in their mind. If there are any references to baselines, 90s, or angle measurements, it is always and can only be in reference to measurements taken from a flat surface. Facts. That's what angles are. They're not meeting curves.
It becomes even simpler if you're already dealing with a right angle straight out of the gate.
That's the point that I wanted to start with. How's he dealing with a right angle straight out the gate? Which gate is that? Triangles. Anybody?
Maybe he's got it from the height map.
I don't know. He seems lost to me.
Why? Because you've already measured it off a flat earth at that point, Dave. So if you start with the angle that's only acquirable from a flat earth, it's much easier. Yeah, you sound like Protothad and MC Toon. Yeah, they both had the same problem. See, MC Toon offered up a £10,000 challenge for how we could use only acquirable flat earth elevation angle measurements on a flat earth. And we pointed out to him, I pointed out personally to Toon, in excess of 86 times. It's another one of those fake laughs. The 86 renditions that you could only get the measurement off a flat earth, Dave. Do you want me to show you? Here it is, it's your example. Here's an angle measurement. It requires a flat baseline. Here's two dudes measuring the same star from thousands of miles apart. And they're on a flat baseline, Dave. That's a flat earth. This isn't curving, my friend. So long as every example moving forward acknowledges the fact that we need a flat earth to get these angles, yeah, it's far easier to ignore that and start with them, isn't it, Dave? But to measure them, you need a flat earth, like you pointed out in your comment. That's gold.
Line where those lines intersect, which forms two right-angled triangles.
Not on a sphere, my friend. You don't get those 90s on a sphere. So you're annihilating a globe because you don't have 90 on a sphere ever.
Switch over to that. 1 second.
I was going to...
Go ahead.
I was going to suggest that maybe we got the opinions of the people who are actually with us live on Ballbusters, because it's more of an open panel today, right? Hence we're responding to Dave McKeegan's devastating claims. But I don't know, anybody had any positive, how can I say this in a non-detrimental way? Positive remarks from ballers? Many of you, maybe? I don't know, I'm just trying to invite a bit of discussion for anybody who's on the panel. Feel free to open up your mics, Flat Earther, or anybody who's got any comment on this particular turn of events with Dave Triangles McKeegan.
Well, I could give my Baldwin opinion, and that is that he needs to stop virtue signaling to flat earthers and just get to actually finding that proof of the ball instead of virtue signaling to flat earthers how it only works on a flat earth. I mean, this is pointless.
Anybody on the panel that's joined today have any comments, remarks about Dave?
Don't worry, Dave. It'll be all right.
he just went.
Anybody else?
He just went
Neil?
into. Go ahead, Nathan. Go ahead and finish up. Yep.
I'm inviting more comments. I know you're keen to start again. You just relax, release the play button. Hopefully, we'll get some more comments from people. I'm just hoping to start the discussion. Not only that, obviously we can restart the video eventually, but see if there's anybody else that's got any comments on this. Basically,
I'm waiting for him to say, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm on your side."
Haha, good luck with that. Just because he can imitate us doesn't mean that he's going to actually side with us.
I'd just like to go back to the audio before we continue of what he just said. So everyone listen up. Here we go.
Triangles.
not on a sphere, my friend. You don't get those 90s on a sphere. So you're annihilating a globe because you don't have 90 on a sphere ever.
That's the point that I wanted to continue on. So let's roll with this. You don't get 90-degree angles on a sphere, people. Let's go to AutoCAD. Shout out to Rob Dorm. Here we go.
Okay, to briefly touch on what the guys over at Flat Earth Debate have been saying, we're going to use the exact same examples of the GP positions here. I'm going to look at it from an orthographic view. Okay, if we're standing here on the Earth, this is the angle to the celestial body. Let's take a line from our position, representing the horizon. The angle formed here is definitely not 90 degrees. And even at the position where it meets the Earth, you can't have a 90-degree angle to a curved surface.
Duh!
And AutoCAD will actually verify this, because if I choose the angular dimension command and I pick this line and this line, it will give me an angle between them. If I try to pick this line and this arc, it says here object selected is not a line, so it will just not give me an angle. And why would it? How could it? The angle will be different at every single point on that arc. So the question is, to the people who believe we live on a globe, 1. Where are you getting your 90 degrees? 2. Where are you getting your straight line to form the 90 degrees? And 3. Where are you getting your circle of equal altitude? Because from what I'm seeing, none of them are available to us using a sphere. Thanks for watching, folks.
Turn out the lights. Party's over.
Hold on, for the song. No, the message from Dave. He wanted to let us know why it doesn't work on a globe. What's that, Dave? Why it doesn't work on a globe? In order to do trig, you need a triangle, and triangles have flat sides. Obviously, the globe doesn't. End quote. Dave, Triangles, McKeegan.
Come on, this can't be for real.
Maybe you didn't listen to my most recent video taking apart some bullshitter of a geodesic surveyor, where it's talking about having straight lines and 90s on a sphere. These don't exist on a sphere ever. Why are you talking about 90s
I don't know.
when you can't have them on a sphere? This is slightly bewildering to me. Anybody maybe care to posit an answer as to why Dave would be talking about 90s when they don't exist on a sphere?
This is why they said, shh, don't talk about 90.
Yeah, Dave wasn't around back then. Dave was just an itch in his dad's flat earth pants at that point, wasn't he? Because he wasn't around when they were all saying, shh, don't mention 90. Is Dave, old as you like, talking about 90? Dave, my friend, you need to keep up to date because this is devastating for you. What's this? This looks very much like a triangle, doesn't it? Yeah, this would be your dude taking an angle measurement to the star. I don't seem to see any assertion of height on here. Where does it show you the height? Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it's because it's not relevant, Dave, you stupid straw manning idiot.
Go to the previous slide prior to that, from the Smithsonian Magazine.
You want to read it out? Go ahead.
Sure. A sextant is used to measure the altitude of a celestial body above a horizontal line of reference. Altitude in this case is a special use of the word describing an angular measure, not distance in feet above sea level.
Do you understand that, Dave? No, you don't. You're Dunning-Kruger. Yeah, did a little bit of research and started telling us about 90 and flat baselines. Meanwhile, this is a measurement that you can take, and it requires 90. Do you remember you telling us about 90, Dave? Yeah, devastating, mate, because you can't have that on a sphere. Now, in this depiction, they seem to have this curve to imply that the surface of the ground is curving. Yeah, that wouldn't give you this. See how it's labelled? 90? That means this is flat. Like you described, Dave, remember, with the flat baseline? That's an actual measurement that you take in reference to the ground that you're standing on.
Being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
Ground position, GP? Yeah, son. Yeah, it's in reference to the ground. Because you're describing 90 degrees too, aren't you? It's just you haven't tried to beat around the bush and make it look like we've got a curved surface. You're just balls out saying it's flat, aren't you, Dave?
Being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
Yeah, no attempt to make this look like it's the curved Earth. When you measure angles, it needs to be flat, doesn't it, Dave? To get this 90. Yeah, shocking. That's our argument, you know, Dave. If you weren't so stupid, you'd have realised that before you started reiterating this. Because this will also get trimmed out, Dave. It's very useful for our argument, these 90s. Yeah? Because they're on the surface of Earth. And you can't have them on a curve.
That's an official diagram where they try to curve the baseline slightly, right? Because of cognitive dissonance or whatever, right? But they can't be because it's using 90s. But when Dave tries to put a line through a sphere, then he'll be working outside of what this diagram, which is an official diagram, is claiming.
They need to infer that there's some sort of curve to the ground. That's why you end up with a diagram like this. They know that, oh, this is a bit awkward, isn't it? The ground's supposed to be curving and that. And we're talking about the ground position of the star with 90 at the ground position. At 90, meaning that it's flat. Yeah, so we'll obviously, we'll try and kind of allude to the surface being curved. You see that? Yeah, we'll make it look kind of like it's curving. We'll put a 90 on it, and we won't put it with a box. We'll put it with a curve. But it's still 90.
There's actually two 90s.
One at the GP, one at the observer. You've got a square, basically, to the ground position. Now, like I say, these people aren't amateur Dunning-Kruger idiots, and they're trying to allude to there being a curved surface. There isn't. There wouldn't be 90 if it was. But like I say, Dave's just put it flat. Made it really clear that 90 meets a flat surface. Right, Dave?
Being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
Bloody idiot. What an amateur.
It becomes even simpler if you're already dealing with a right angle straight out of the gate.
Because you'll have already proven a flat Earth at that point.
And we can use this to measure the size or the distance of things.
So you're saying if you've got a flat baseline and 90 degree along the surface from your position to the GP of a star, you can measure distances, what, to the GP? Yeah, you can, with the angle, not with the height, though. I mean, you just don't understand any of this stuff. You're stupid.
For example, let's say I want to know how tall this bottle is with...
Why? We're talking about celestial navigation. I mean, you seem to be all smarty pants when you were referring to one deck about celestial navigation specifically. Oh, yeah, with baselines and 90s and stuff.
Being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
Yeah, like in this diagram. But now we're not going to be talking about stars. We're going to be talking about measuring physical items. Now, that's not what we do with celestial navigation, though, is it? He's drawing lines, calling them elevation angles, and they're meeting a curve. I can see it on screen. I mean, I couldn't, but I can now. There is no chord through this, Brian. That's a curve. That's a straight line.
He had a diagram where he put a chord through it.
He did, but he hasn't on this because he's stupid. So he's described, and I'll rewind it and play it again, elevation angle measurements. Then he's shown this. But as you can see on screen now, this line is meeting a curve. This is not an elevation angle, as described by Dave Keegan.
You have an object that is thousands of times further away than the distance between the observation points because the difference in elevation angles...
Difference in elevation angles. These aren't them, Dave. You can't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. We ask it daily. It's a housekeeping question, shit for brains. The difference in elevation angles. Oh, really? Is that what is on screen right now, Dave? It isn't, stupid idiot, because that's a curved baseline. Hello? You've gone through what elevation angles are. Why would you show it with a curved baseline? Are you thick? Yes, you are. Is this me hand-waving you, by the way, Dave? Me showing your own stupid shit for brains diagram and pointing out that with on screen your words of the difference in elevation angles. These aren't elevation angles, you stupid idiot. Yeah, angle would be this, meeting a flat baseline, like a perfect flat baseline like you described. Yeah? Hello? Dave shit for brains McKeegan. Anybody home? The flat baseline, do you remember? Yeah.
Everybody else is saying, shh, don't say 90, but he's saying 90. Brilliant.
It is.
There's a picture of it in Master D.
Maybe McKeegan's tactic is to, if he just debunks his own position within the argument before the opponent does, then he wins.
It seems legit.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll put this on if you like, 10th. Flat Earth proof. Can't be done any other way.
Hang on. Don't forget the other picture showing a circle of equal altitude next to it.
That's what I was getting ready to say. If you use two flat Earth proofs in conjunction, that makes a globe, right?
No.
Oh, damn. Never mind.
We can measure the ground distance between the center of the base of the bottle and our observation point, which in the case of this is 40 centimeters.
On a flat table. So you're proving Earth's flat. So how we do it is use things that are flat to get 90 to them. Well done, Dave McKeegan. I'll say it again. You've proven a flat Earth. Yeah, flat baseline, 90 degrees. This is the methodology. Comparable to a table, scaled up, Earth's flat. Yeah, completely agree. All of the people around you, Dave, have been saying, don't mention 90. That's your side making it clear amongst yourselves on the globe side that you don't want to discuss the 90 degrees to the baseline with the star above it. Because that is only possible on a flat plane. Scaled up, it looks like this. That's a flat Earth, my friend. Is he insane? Did he go, oh my God, I chopped my head off. Quick, pour some acid on it.
Yeah, it seems that's what he's doing. He's going to really, 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 really prove it's flat this time.
And the table being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
I cannot quite believe my ears. Sorry, chat commenter. Was this Dave annihilating me? Really? Let's have a listen to that again. I mean, this is devastating. You're absolutely right, chat commenter. I should have been so fearful of this video. Proving it.
It cannot be real.
No. This is Dunning-Kruger. I've never seen such a perfect example of it.
This is insane, is what it is.
The distance of things. For example, let's say I want to know how tall this bottle is without physically measuring it.
You'll need a flat Earth for that, Dave. Let's see how.
Well, we know if we put this on a table, the center of the top is going to be directly above the center of the base, and that's going to create a 90-degree angle to the table. We can measure the ground distance between the center of the base of the bottle and our observation point, which in the case of this is 40 centimeters, and the table being flat gives us a perfectly straight baseline.
Well done, Dave Triangles McKeegan. You have cemented your place in history as the first glober to go out of his way to make it absolutely 100% clear that the ground distance is flat.
We can end it right there. Questions, comments?
A few props. So props to Rob Durham. Your material, you couldn't have, made the concise edits that I did and made the point so clear because you've done it in AutoCAD and narrated it so beautifully. So thanks to Rob Durham. Also shout out to Wandeck. I'm going to stress this again. His carefully phrased discussion and contextualizing a question about the height of a star above a globe Earth is the reason we're in this position. So, as much as I've put a lot of work in, I can't take all the credit. It's down to who set the spark under this blazing inferno. Well, it was one deck.
Yeah. That's it. It's over.
I'm still trying to
behalf
figure
of
out if this
everybody-
guy's for real.
On behalf of everybody at Ballbusters, welcome to Flat Earth, Dave Twangles McKeegan.
Indeed.
No, there's not too much to say after that. I mean, he said it all himself.
I was
I
just
don't.
gonna say
We don't
that.
need to
He
comment.
said it all.
Yeah.
All you need now is a live interaction where we basically asking him about what he said. If he even does actual live performances at all. But it would be pretty amazing to hear him out about that response video. Like, what was his point?
I'm sure we're gonna
Let's see
hear.
what
I can't wait to hear the next response.
I'm sure it'll be
The
flat.
debug space and axial rotation in the next one. Tuned.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Nice.
Would like that video to get lots of views. So yeah, Dave Twangles McKeegan doubles down on proving a flat Earth is the video. It's on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. As I say, not just because I put a lot of work into it, but I do think it's important. That's why I put work into it, because I understood the importance of it. And between guffaws of laughter, I managed to put the time in, wipe my eyes dry, and get the work done. And I'd like it shared. So if you can, hopefully one of the mods will put it in your chat feed live now. Just go to the video, give it a like, give it a comment, share it. Let's take this as a thanks Bob moment from our own, perspective, because no, there's not a whole raft of massive anti-flat earthers, but by the same token, in the big scheme of mainstream media, no Dale's not exactly a massive flat earther because no such thing exists. Well, there's no such animal as a massive anti-flat earther, is there? Dave McKeegan will have to do. So thanks, Dave. Hopefully everyone will see that video and people will share it around, because it's worth demonstrating to people from the position that even if you get it in front of an anti-flat earther or a baller or a normie, you're going to recognise the argument, because the back and forth is between someone who doesn't think it's flat, explaining how it can't work on a globe, and us illustrating how that can't work on a globe that Dave was so keen to illustrate proves it's flat. That's very, very powerful. Yeah, I do want people to share that video. That's why I plugged it. I didn't know QE was going to do this on the show, by the way. For anybody who's like, I just stressed the importance of plugging my own video at the beginning, because I do, and I'm glad other people have recognised it, and that's probably why it's got an absolute ton of comments immediately. Like before the algorithm could catch up and tell me how many comments, I looked. I was like 3 comments. I just had a snooze. I was like, oh yeah, well, shame, par for the course. I'd really hope that video would do well. Then I went into the video and I'm like, 86 comments. It's only been up 2 hours. Bloody hell, that's a lot of comments. So yeah, please leave a comment and keep that ball rolling. And hopefully, like I say, someone on your chat will put a link to it and people will go, comment, like, share, do all those things. Come back, of course. We are live.
I'll make a prediction that I think it's possible that someone else, maybe MC Town or someone else, will do the response rather than Dave McKeegan himself. It's possible that one of them or do another one in correlation to Dave McKeegan doing a response. If there was a response coming, because
You think he'll have a white knight come to do damage control for him? Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, in his damage control, he'll prove a flat Earth too.
well, if you look at someone like Dave McKeegan, what gets him started and what gives him popularity? If we look, like it's he's reviewing something from flat Earth, and let's just say it could be relative density or something, and he'll try and belittle some section of a talk from a video or from a live stream about relative density, and then state it's make a joke out of it, and then state it's gravity, right? Now he won't define gravity. He won't go into the nitty-gritty of what gravity is claimed to be these days. He won't go into Newton and Einstein. He won't go into Cavendish. He won't go into Charles Vernon Boyce. There'll be none of that. He'll just say gravity. Everyone will go, yeah, and subscribe to him and, give him super chats and PayPals and all this. It's like, just by saying gravity, because all he is a confirmation bias merchant. That's all he is. He's just making money off of the confirmation bias that he gives himself and gives to whatever group of people are subscribed to him. He doesn't actually put out anything, with the exception of disinformation concerning triangles. Other than that, there's nothing he puts out that has any relevance that I've seen in reality. Nothing.
Nathan, we're lost. You're the navigator. What are you going to do?
Quick, we better find the height of that star, or we're all doomed.
Yeah, get the height map.
It's like watching a crash test dummy bang their head up against a right triangle.
Listen to that. That has 24/7 written all over it. Who the hell is in my chat? Is that Sonny?
That'd be Sunny. That'd be I. How you doing?
Good. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, good. I just thought I'd stop by, show myself and listen to you guys. Great conversation. Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics. I actually, as a young man, I did navigate on small boats up and down California and all the way to the Caribbean, almost to South America. So yeah, it's a great topic, and I didn't know, like, at the time in 2017 that what I did as a young man sailing would come right back around with the rest of flat, the knowledge of this earth now, the awareness of it, and that it would come back around to celestial navigation again, something I did in my youth.
Did you ever use the celestial height map?
I was going to ask if he used the globe while he was on the boat.
That's what I keep asking, literally. I'm like, where's your globe nav chart then? And your curved charts? Because, like, we all roll them up and roll them out on a flat navigational table. So, I don't know where they are. Like, they're up somewhere above the surface because you can't do it with a curved surface. Nobody's traveling along a surface.
I don't want to be just that guy that's disagreeable. You're slightly wrong about the nav table. I'm not a navigator. I'm not professing to be some expert here. Did you know that the straight, level, flat navigation table is actually curved? Did you not know that?
Actually curved, in case it gets water on it, it runs off the edges?
No, that's what level and straight and flat mean. They actually mean curved.
It would have to be. Yeah, but without seeing it, though, that's the part you're missing. Yeah.
It's got to be flat, otherwise you don't end up with areas of equal elevation if you do get lost. You haven't got 90 degrees to the baseline of the star if you're doing angle measurements to work out the distance to the GP based on its position at a certain time. So you can find yourself with a few stars. All of that fails if the surface is curved. Every single aspect of what I just described fails.
Exactly. And, quite to the point, every instance, every minute that you looked at that star, you would be in a different location on the globe, a different angle. It would all be different every second. There's no way that, like, no one could ever possibly do that. I would like to see somebody even try to model that on a computer, let's say. It can't be done.
You can't orientate yourself on the globe.
No. As soon as you turn around.
It would never have worked out as it did if we were actually on the globe.
Yeah. So what about when you go up a 6-foot wave and down into a 6-foot trough every 12 seconds, let's say, for an interval of waves? Then how is that throwing you like?
I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is, sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to promote you. What you're saying is, on the globe, let's just say at Southern California, you might have a rotational rate, like it's going to be 15 degrees per hour west to east, but your rotational rate will be hundreds and hundreds of miles per hour, right? Whereas what we see in the sky is just 15 degrees per hour. We don't have a rotational rate to it other than giving it a degree per hour rate. We don't have a miles per hour rate for it. The only miles per hour rate would be on the surface of a globe that's rotating. And so if you were in Southern California, you're 33 32 degrees
Yeah.
south, or north. So your rotational rate will be 800 miles per hour kind of thing. So if you're talking about that and dealing with the up and down, the peaks and the troughs of waves over, let's say, as you said, 12 seconds, it's like, how are you going to calculate it then? How are you going to, because, we have to view the sky as an entity outside of what we know, as opposed to physicalizing the Earth into a rotating body.
Yep.
Yes.
Shout out 24/7. Hey Nathan, I've been in there a bunch this past month, and they just been slaying ballers with the sextant argument. Slaying them.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
once you
it's
come
good.
around to the fact that you need a flat baseline, it's over.
Well, it's like the problem really is this, mostly because we're in there slashing away at them day by day in the trenches, and most of the time is spent literally on trying to teach adults the difference between a straight line and a curved line. You got to get there first.
That's sad.
You're laughing. He's not even joking.
I know.
Having spent a significant. He's absolutely serious. That's not a joke. I know we're laughing, but that is not a joke.
Yeah, it's psychotic.
Right, but wouldn't like the whole star chart be technically untenable if we were surrounded by outer space and you had all the planets and all the parallax issues, and it would technically be continually changing? So, like, what star charts, right?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be stable if they weren't like a flat plane that presents itself.
What you back on star charts for? We're talking about straight and level lines.
I'm just diving deeper into the absolute impossibility of celestial navigation on a globe.
Here's one big one. If I might, I could interject right here. Sorry to interrupt, but listen, the Nautical Almanacs publication 229, and I think it's 239. Those are never updated or edited. Like, those elevation angles are the exact same place. Their zenith is over the exact same geographic location on Earth at that minute the next freaking year.
Yep.
Try that.
Right, no orbital wobble there.
There
Well,
you go. That's it.
Back to straight and curve. Let's not even talk about lines, just the definition. Straight, curved. I don't care if it's a pencil. I don't care if it's any object. Straight, curved. These adults, they have a problem with straight, curved. It has nothing. I mean, it's 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds know straight, curved.
Right.
They know. They know better. They don't want to know better because they want to prove their point, because they're fighting for a cause. They
have an aversion to even being able to see elevation change, period. What end of story? Like, here, we had someone just yesterday, I think, or the day before, saying you could walk over a mountain in the same direction, and aren't you going on a straight line? We're like, no, elevation change. They won't include that in anything. And listen, the other thing they have to do, and we all know this, you guys know this, they have to stop everything. Everything has to become static, and for any of their dream world to come true, it all has to be a static Earth, which it never is.
Well, I've heard some of the ballers that frequent, they don't really go in there, but they chat skank over at Try Thinking. I've heard them state that that the 8 inches per mile drop is not an elevation change. Because that's what it has to be in their world. It has to not be an elevation change, which means it's impossible. I know it's not. I know it's technically not correct, right? But it is correct within their world, because all their elevations are taken from a curved mean sea level, right? So technically, within what they're trying to claim within their paradigm is that basically, without actually admitting it, there's, in so many words, they're stating that it's impossible to ever measure this 8 inches per mile drop.
That's baloney.
8 inches per mile square drop.
Drop.
I mean,
define drop.
Yeah. A change in elevation. That's the point. You know what I mean? They're stating that is not a change in elevation. Then it's not possible to measure it. That means it can't exist.
Okay, so does this lead to it being caused by this idea that everybody, every single individual as an observer is on top of the Sagittarius at all times? Is that what their basis is?
No, that's a whole other story. Go ahead, Nathan. Hold on.
Both a contradiction in terms and talking out of both sides of their mouth. So saying that the change in elevation that is 8 inches per mile squared is not a change in elevation. That's what they're actually saying. As ludicrous as that sounds, that is what they're saying.
Yep. As soon as you get to the next spot, you're on top again. You're on top of the ball again. So everybody's on top of the ball at the same time. And that's absolutely ridiculous, ludicrous.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we went through that with Alice and Bob.
I love Alice and Bob.
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, just confirming it. That was like I started laughing when I heard it. It's just like you're basically stating that your 8 inches per mile squared, 8 inches per mile squared drop, right? That can't be measured. That means no one measured it, right? That means it's not measured because it's not an elevation change. Because if it's not an elevation change, then that means it's not a change from the horizontal. Because all elevations are based off of a horizontal. Above and below horizontal. That's what they're based off of. The rise over run is the basic process used in surveying for elevation changes. So if you're stating that you can't measure an 8 inches per mile square drop over like through surveying, then that means it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It can't be there and not be measured. It's impossible.
Right. What the reason for Brian stammering is because he's trying to carefully phrase a paradox, because it's the non-curve curve. It's the claim of a drop that's not a drop in elevation. It's all contradictory if you're parroting off an anti-flat earther's position, not a globus position. What's a globus position? This drop. Moving on with my day, because they're not being challenged by us. When they are, well, it's the drop that's not a drop. The 8 inches per mile squared drop in elevation that isn't a drop in elevation.
So once again, folks, they have to stop the world. They're spinning globe, monkey, space monkey ball. They have to stop it, because if you go from position A on their ball to position B on their ball, then they, like, once you get to the next position, they've forgotten all about that you went from A to B. Like, they just go, you're on top of the ball again. Now you're at B. They don't seem to understand any of that. Flat line, like, they think a curved line is straight. Yeah, it's, I've never seen such thing.
Well, they don't. They have, see, for them, they have to ignore everything that happened between A and B. And they have to make a claim. Yeah, because that's what they have to do. And to make a claim, the curvature is always outside of where you can measure or where you can visually observe. All that they have is a level difference calculator, which is, they call it the Metabonk curve calculator. Level difference calculator. It calculates the height, the difference between two horizontal parallels, two parallel horizontals. That's all they have.
I know. And then, you know what, you have to blind yourself too, because you can't trust your eyes. So no sailors sailing up to the rocks, that can't be relied upon or anything like that, so.
Well, if we go by Dave McKeegan's, I'll be quick. If we go by Dave McKeegan's example, what I think is a brilliant example, and it's one of these simple things that people have brought it up in the past. We've all brought it up, but if you're talking about, let's say there's a 100-foot cliff and a 150-foot lighthouse on top of that cliff, that's 250 feet, right? And you want to know how far away you are from that, so you use that known height off the charts of the cliff and the lighthouse. That's 250 feet. You take your angle and you find out you're 15 miles from it. Now you definitely see that from 15 miles, because I know of boats that are 15 miles away from a lighthouse that is about that height, and they can definitely see it.
So Brian, that's another use of the right triangle, and there's another one, like you could do triangulation going up the coast with known landmarks, which is done most of the time in coastal navigation. You use landmarks, you use a handheld compass, and you get your angles from 2 or 3 different locations. You cross them, that's your location. That's why you use to correct your dead reckoning, because that's more reliable. So you cannot have any of those sides when you're laying down the right triangle. They have to also be straight lines. So there's 3 ways now.
Horizontally.
I mean,
horizontal lines.
Hold on. I got a message from Dave McKeegan, labelled "Why it doesn't work on a globe." Quote from Dave McKeegan.
No.
Why it doesn't work on a globe? In order to do twig, you need a triangle, and triangles have flat sides, and obviously the globe doesn't. Oh, thanks. That's from Dave Triangles McKeegan.
Did you say
Anytime,
twig?
thanks.
Did you say in order to do twig?
Yes, he blanked off.
That's not right, is it?
Oh, there's Adam. He
Trigonometry.
finally made it. Hold on. Adam finally made it.
Flats made it.
Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's not math. It's not, it's not twig. It's trigonometry.
No, trigonometry.
There you
A
go.
new, listen, it's
There
a
you
new
go.
branch.
Yep.
All right.
Trigonometry.
Get control of yourselves. Shout out to Tony Wickham. He states Ivan Pavic was classed as dead when he went from Yugoslavia to the U.S. for NASA space travel, and they fudged the data, and Ivan is still alive, God forbid. Thanks for the super chat, Tony. I don't know that name.
I don't know that name. I was about to ask you to clarify that.
I don't know
won't
it.
do that then.
Yeah,
I don't
it has
either.
to be Tony.
It's going to cost him.
Yes, it is. And that's sorry about that, Tony. I don't know the name. When I first read it, I said, I don't recognize that.
Right, I got 2 minutes to be
I
succinct.
Okay, hold on, Brian.
I can.
Hold on, Brian. Adam, yeah, you're something else, man. Because I'm going to bring up that topic here in a few minutes. But go ahead. You only got 2 minutes. Go.
2 things. Mum, happy 77th birthday. I love you. Leo, my son, my oldest, happy 18th. I love you too. That's why I'm not here tonight. I'm just in the toilet, as far as anyone's concerned. So yeah, happy birthday. Just one other thing, because I just heard a couple of bits. I've started a bit of research, and excuse the evening song. Brian, I've done a little bit of research. I'm looking, because we did some work on these triangles. So I've gone into the Triangulation of India, the Great Survey, and I'm going into this. And whilst they try to describe spherical trig, it appears to be an excuse for inaccuracy with multiple R values that you invoke. So I think whatever you're doing at the moment is on the right line as we try to prove right-angled triangles and straight line distances between point A and B are not commensurate with a spherical surface. So yeah, bits to come, but I just wanted to say, Brian, you've done my head in, because it's Brian's fault. He started this. Yeah, but it started a lot of stuff that I'd looked at in the past, and like I said, what's called the Great Trigonometrical Survey is the Triangulation of India, particularly starting with the North India Himalayan kind of point, which is where a lot of the maps have contention, the old maps. But this again is done with triangulation. And even if you do a simple wiki search, all of this stuff is triangulation. It's not until later on that they start to make excuses for different radii, excess of spherical triangles and things like that.
That's
But
paradox.
the initial survey, which is accurate to within a degree of any survey that purports to take into account a spherical surface, is more accurate than that. These things hold true based on triangulation, which is the whole subcontinent of India that's done. Maybe not the middle bits, but certainly all of the coastline and all the Himalayan up to and including all of the great peaks. And this is why Everest was first announced as the Mount Everest. It was known as some just like Mount blah 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 before, but it's during the Great Survey that they decided to announce Everest as Mount Everest, based on the bloke that's doing the surveys tutor, who was Mr. Everest. Could I name this posthumously after the bloke that taught me how to triangulate? I'm done.
You're suggesting that...
Very good, Adam.
Well, you're not suggesting, you're proving that all claims of the height of Everest, which is something that's contentious, with a flat Earth. This is something I'm going to use going forward. That's epic. Because that's a headline we can put in videos. Drop in flat Earth information when you're detailing quest for the height of Everest, which requires a flat Earth. Has done and has been utilised up until now. Interesting. So just one quick question before you toddle off, Adam. I'm sure you're keen to get off. Did you nurture, your wife and yourself, I should say, nurture and produce a fully functioning, self-sufficient human? Adult human?
Well, sometimes you may question that as a parent. But yes, beautifully. Of all the things I've achieved in life, he's the most proud thing that I can ever say. What have you done in life, Ad? And I would point to my children, yeah.
There is
two great
only
examples.
one more glorious thing that you will experience, Adam, and the gateway, so to speak, has been opened to that because of this. Do you know what that is?
Oh, brother.
Single, probably best experience you will get out of this. He
Well,
finally
when they leave-
stops off and leaves
When
you
they
alone.
leave, I knew it.
When they
Finds
leave.
his own house.
I knew it.
Thanks
I
for
knew
ruining
you
the
were going
punchline,
there.
Neil. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
he ruined it for you. Hey, Neil, hold up, man. Hey, Adam, hold up before you go, because Tony Wickham had just super chatted again about his previous comment that he says that you know about. He says that Adam Meakin has the goods on Ivan Pavic. I gave it to him in the Brum last year.
So, yeah, that relates to a video. I don't have a CD drive. I know this is spastic, right? But Tony gave me and I've got it because it's in front of my computer. But I don't have a CD drive to download it. I've actually got to buy something because none of my computers have like anything other than USB input. There's no CD. I've got no way of playing it.
I've got a spare.
I'll send it to right. So on that, then I'll send it to Nathan, Tony. Because Tony went out.
No.
No, you don't want to accept it. Though.
I'll send you a drive. You can read it then on your machine. I'll send you a drive.
Oh,
Send me
cool.
your address.
Yeah,
I'll send you a drive.
Cool. Well, you know that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll
Can I
sort
say
that. It was just a shout out to Tony. He does do a lot of stuff on this, and he went to the effort of making these things. And when we were there with showing that flat Earth debate banner that we had made, that's when Tony turned up and exchanged information between us. So yeah, shout out Tony. Respect, bro.
I'm thinking no, Brian.
Well, I'm going to go with yes. I just want to say happy birthday to Mammy Meakin and Leo Meakin. And Adam, I have more stuff that is going to show. It's stuff I've gone through in the past. I came at it from a slightly different angle. Pun intended. I have more stuff to show you that shows absolute fraud from claim surveyors on the opposing side.
Yeah. Even if I don't know my sign from my tangent. Hey, Brian. I'll let people know that. We did some work in the week. I just threw some... It was late at night. Come on. It was late at night, and I threw some triangles down on an ordnance survey map. And it didn't really make a difference because when I did the triangulation, it was within such a small percentage that it was acceptable just for Pythagorean theorem. But I tried to do it under trying to calculate these straight line distances that would be with a ball arching over them. And admittedly, I used, like I said, my SOHCAHTOA got mixed up.
Sakatumi.
Sakatumi, yeah. But even when even when I use the correct one, we still have a problem there. We still have a disconnect between something that works within a percentage and something that is dubious. If you, and this is the point. So we've only got the distances between A and B. Okay, now we know that's all we've got. So to try and create a comparison between these distances between A and B, which we expressed in Pythagorean theorem as appropriate, they match. When we put them into the ball earth, we have to assume certain things to try and mitigate it for it and try and explain it within a ball theory, because we don't have any actual real data that validates that information as on a ball, i.e. the distance between A and B. Because all the angles and the distance, are straight line distances. But if we plot them onto a ball and we then turn these distances into points, intersection points on the top of a sphere, which is what they are, whether they're 3 points on the UK that I plotted or Brian LIGO arms, there's still points that are formed on the circumference of the sphere. But any adjoining straight lines would be below the level of the surface. So real triangles, not spherical triangles. And that's why I tried to calculate it on them. But even if you do that, like I say, it'll work out because you've pre-assumed the ball. And this is the thing I've worked out this week, right? You can't compare the mathematics, because to do so, the only way to do so is for you to pre-assume the ball, give it an R value, and all you end up doing is structuring the world based on your R value and the measurements you've got, which will come in within, I think, about 2% of the flat world version, if you assume R as being, and this was my other point, wasn't it, Brian? Where after heat humble pi, the radius of the Earth in kilometre is not 3959, it's 6371. Which is where my maths cocked up. So I did balls up this week. But the point being, even if you apply that mathematics to it, the only way in which you can validate it on a ball is not from the real world, is to pre-assume the R value, and therefore you don't prove anything, because all you've done is take your real world distances and apply them to a pre-assumed R value that doesn't match to anything in reality, just the mathematics you presuppose. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense, Adam. Those spherical triangles make perfect sense too. That's a contradiction in terms. Married bachelors are over in the corner belly laughing. Shout out to Original D-Rose. I'm going to bubble this guy's eye, so I have to read this. We took the take the high road, and let's be a whittle reasonable. Let's all twy not to be too hard on Dwave Triangles McKeegan, fellas. Oh, and he sent another one. We should take the high road, and when weeding between the wines, Dwave's twang very hard and means well. I'm going to kill you, Original D-Rose.
It's really going in on Dave.
That was pretty good, QE.
Well,
You got Elmer Fudd
a few
down.
years back, if I'd have told my friends that I spent the weekend in triangles, it would have meant something very different. Definitely wouldn't have meant talking about this.
Oh boy.
Good, Brian.
Can I add a little bit?
Yeah, just let's wrap this up.
A little bit of clarity, right, to what me and Adam is talking about and what me and Adam are talking.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll clear all things up. Go ahead.
It will. When I use the LIGO arms, right, they're straight. They have to be horizontal, right, and they're 2.5 miles long, right, each one. Slightly under that, but they're just on 2.5. That's what they say. Sorry, that's exactly what they say on the website. The point is that if they are straight lines that's 2.5 miles long, that means the ground underneath them, as an arc underneath them, if we were on a globe, has to be a bit longer, right? that means those LIGO arms have to act as chord lengths above the surface. Now, when I do put those lengths into the right-angle triangle calculator, my hypotenuse is slightly longer than what the Google Earth gives me with a polygon. So Google Earth's polygon gives me an hypotenuse that's shorter than what the right-angle triangle gives me if I use those lengths. But Google Earth is referencing 2.5 miles along those arms, when Google Earth shouldn't be referencing 2.5 miles along those arms, because there has to be a bit more than that underneath. It has to be. So this is the joke. I'm using straight line distances.
Just gonna say we should really let Adam stomp, shuffle, and shag his way off. Throw some triangles with his family.
I am going to go through some shapes. The music's starting in the garden. All of these shapes, you know.
Yeah, thanks. That cleared everything up. Appreciate it.
I haven't finished it to clarify it. So how could you criticize it? No,
Oh God.
Come back and tell us what you had for dinner.
Step your way out of here.
Hey,
yourself in the round.
Hey, before we move on, I'm going to throw another monkey in the wrench here. I got a message from 10th. He said, I was striking golf balls at the range with the current show on my phone, and everything was fine until I tried to measure the height of the golf ball. I think you meant golf ball above the flat golf range in actual distance, and he had to stop. Thanks, QE. There you go.
I also got a message from Dave McKeegan. He says, why it doesn't work on a globe. In order to do trig, you need a triangle, and triangles have flat sides, and obviously the globe doesn't. End quote. Dave Triangles McKeegan. Oh, thanks for the message, Dave. Got it loud and clear.
Profound and correct. 10th knows, and I know he's tongue-in-cheek, but what he's talking about is the same as terrestrial navigation, where we can use trigonometry. Okay, we might have to worry about a few other bit mitigation, but ultimately we can use trigonometry in terrestrial navigation. That's the way in which a sailor at sea, offshore, will use a lighthouse as a landmark to gain its GP. Not based on the stars, but based on the fact that, unlike the stars, that lighthouse has a known height. So we can actually use trigonometry here in its fullest sense, as opposed to how we do with celestial navigation. So terrestrial does invoke standard trigonometry to calculate side lengths. It's not the way celestial works, but if 10th was trying to measure certain things, yep, that's how it works. And if he's got any complaint, that's him as a bad golfer, not trigonometry.
And I just want to shout out to Adam. Adam, I know you've only been on here for 2 minutes. Like you said that you're going to stay. I was going to do our little piece that we talked about, but you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait for you to come back. How about that?
I'd appreciate that, because I'm off now because my son's just got his guitar out, so he's off playing to the family. So, yeah, I can't hide in the toilet anymore. So have a good evening, guys. And
okay,
so Adam, have fun.
Because all of this stuff. Sorry, I was going to round up. All of this stuff demonstrates flatness. Like I said, the more we investigate, the more evidence we get. Like I say, when you look at the Great Survey, the Triangulation of India, it doesn't prove a ball, it proves flat. Yeah, it's how they did it. And oh God, I know.
I forgot. Where was this from again? Are you saying this is from India?
Yeah, 1812. And either side of that, but that's the fundamental point. So the point where we're just measuring things based on chain lengths. So all of this stuff is done via triangulation, and the maps fit to Google Earth today. And that's the important thing. If you look at the triangulation maps generated in the early 1800s, based on triangles, they match Google Earth today. That is a major problem when you're talking about spanning the breadth of something, all the length of something like the subcontinent of India. Your spherical triangles can't work, and they don't work because
that's a paradox.
Triangles match up.
That's a paradox.
Yeah, exactly. They can't match. You can't draw triangles on a sphere and then match up.
No.
Eventually they'll mismatch.
No, they're not that
got-
are matching. They don't exist. One last request,
Not
Adam.
triangles.
One
Not
last
triangles.
One last request, Adam. Take us home.
Okay, well, I'll end it like this. Triangles have 3 straight sides.
Thanks,
Have a
Adam.
good evening, guys.
You too, sir.
With that, I'm going to say first and
Yeah.
foremost, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of today's Ballbusters panel for making today's live show possible. An extended thank you to Dave Triangles McKeegan for proving Earth is flat and showing how it cannot possibly work on a sphere. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in today's live audience for smashing the super chat, hitting the PayPal link, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting up that Dave Triangles McKeegan video linked in the live stream chat right now, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. A massive thank you to our host, Quantum Eraser, and we will see you all in the next Ballbusters.
We're lost, Nathan. What do we do? You're the navigator.
I've got to calculate the height. Quick, sharp. How high is that star? Get on it.
How do we calculate the height, Nathan?
I don't know, but it's going to save our lives if we figure it out quick, sharp, when we're lost here.
Or you know actually how high it really is.
Hold on a second. Maybe someone on board already knows the height.